Can you hear me okay, guys? Happy late anniversary for sure. A week. What is with this shadow? Sorry, it's just super distracting to me.
For the podcast listeners,
Whoa,
we're gonna have a clean
okay.
audio. Can you hear me okay?
There, we'll do that to get rid of that delay. Hey, Carol, welcome to the 7th anniversary live stream special. I feel like I'm here. I gotta adjust this. This is driving me nuts. I got pajama pants on, don't worry. I gotta adjust these lights. Too harsh. There we go. Luckily, I'm wearing pajama pants. My snowflakes, my Christmas pajama pants. There, that looks a little bit better. No context, thank you for coming in. Happy anniversary, thank you. Photogenic Hunt 42. Yeah, 7 years. It's been a long... I mean, it doesn't feel like that, for sure. But it's been a while. Kyler, welcome in. No context. I feel like I've been listening to Dead Rabbit Radio for more than 7 years. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when I look back on it, it seems to have flown by. And then at the same time I go, 7 years, I should have more than 1,400 episodes. That doesn't sound right. But maybe I was taking too many breaks at some point, which makes sense. Yeah, Kelly, whenever I'm recording, you probably should be like, is he wearing pants or not? Usually when I'm doing the podcast, I'm fully dressed, but not all the time. Conspiracy Sam, thank you for your happy anniversary wishes. Conspiracy Sam, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't been, I can do this myself. You have a channel, right? You recently covered a story, and you've been giving me a shout out, and I haven't responded, which sounds like me. I'm really, really bad at responding to stuff. Or it could be somebody you're like, no, I don't have a channel. What are you talking about? Yeah. So I'll do a shout out now, and then I'll do a shout out on I'll do an episode coming up. But Conspiracy Sam had done a documentary on the Casablanca entities, which is one of my favorite stories. And so, yeah, I haven't taken a look at it yet. I did see your email. But yeah, that's really awesome. I want to take a look at that. I'm going to check it out. Because I love that story. That's one of my favorite stories we've covered on this podcast. Oh, no context said, my first car should have been a VW Rabbit. I have a update about my car in a second. But first off, SK, thank you so much for your very generous donation. I love it. Dead rabbits never die. Listening while I pack up to move back to the Pacific Northwest after a decade. Thanks for the stories and congratulations. And I will write it down on this notepad. Write it down on this notepad that I promise not to lose, so we can give you your guys' shout outs. Thank you so much. So my car got hit the other day. I've had a car for a month now, and someone crashed into it. I wasn't in the car. I'm fine. But someone crashed into my car. So now I'm already having to call up the insurance company. They left a note, luckily. Right, they left a note. But annoying, right? It was just sitting there and someone crashed into it. I have named the car Sunny. Kelly asked if I named it, and I did name it Sunny. Kyler Wortman is wants to post about a new book in the so I'm sorry. I woke up like an hour ago, which should be well adjusted, but my eyes, man. I got bags under my eyes. Who said Carol Williamson said you look good, healthy? I don't know. I don't know about that. So Kyler was talking about and I don't know. I hadn't heard this before, but apparently there is a murder story that the character of Laura Palmer was based on, which is probably pretty accurate. So yeah, I'd be interested in taking a look at that and taking a look at that case. I had to look this up. A Google user, that's your username, said the other day, left a YouTube comment saying, I always love how you have these Slender-esque lists of shout-outs you always need to find. And that's when SK sent over that donation. I was like, yeah, every so often I was like, I found a list. It was nailed to a tree in the middle of a forest. Here, I don't know what these people did, but it's just like a list of serial killers. I'm like, Ted Bundy, you get a shout out. You know, it's funny. Somebody hit Sonny Carroll. It was a Sprinter van. Like, again, luckily he left a note on the car, so, you know, all that, all that stuff. But, pretty annoying. Listen, man, I've done this 100 times. I've been involved in so many car accidents, and only one was my fault. But it just sucks, like, having a car for a month. I'm going to try to find a new parking spot, because it's pretty hectic down there. But I bought because who I am, because I'm a big shot celebrity, no, that's not what I meant. I don't like waiting, and I don't like doing things I don't want to do, which is what everybody is. But so when I went to buy my parking pass, you can buy it monthly, they do it monthly, right? And I go, I just want to pay for the whole year in advance. And they're like, oh, okay. So I bought a year-long parking pass, and it's getting goofy. But what's not getting goofy? I got hit by a car. So I was like, well, I already bought a year. It looks like something's happening with my, it sucks. I just had some new internet put in here. Carol, your ex-husband keeps trying to break your car? Break into it? That's like a crime. That's almost not even like that's like police. That's like a police matter. I hope that's not. I hope I must have missed like an inside joke or something in there. It's funny. So, you know, I've been tooling around looking into all of the AI stuff because I was like, well, you know, let's see what is going to do its best to replace me. And so there is a website that you can go to that you can make personalized podcasts, which I predicted was going to happen like 2 weeks ago, and apparently it already is out there. People are already putting out, because people were saying, hey, I actually have already heard these two voices on Apple iTunes. I thought it was a real two people. What you do is you take a PDF file and you put it into this Notebook LM is the name of it if you want to toy around with it. And it'll turn, this is great, like if you got homework to do or something like that, you can take any PDF file. I took a website and put it in there, and it makes it two people talking about it. And it's not reading it verbatim. They're just kind of like blah, 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 blah. So I go, well, I'm going to put in a Wikipedia about Ted Bundy. You're like, Jason, you caused the fall of mankind. You're like, hey, AI, read about all these serial killers. So I gave it a Wikipedia article, and it's a man and a woman. You can't change that, at least in the free version. And they go, yeah, let's talk about the case of Ted Bundy. Yeah, are you guys back? Can you guys see me now? No, so yeah, let me see here. Can you see me now? There. It's buffering. Is it still? This might be like that episode of Star Trek where I'm communicating with people like in the past. You know what I mean? You're like, no. I wonder how I fix this. So, can you hear me? Yeah, it's crazy. I just had the Spectrum guys come out and do a big install the other day. Okay, I'm going to restart the stream. Welcome, everybody, to the 7th anniversary live stream special. The real one. That previous one was fake. It was all fake. If anyone tells you there was a problem 6 minutes into the live stream, fake news. It didn't happen. Other than that, my name is Jason Carpenter, the very splotchy host of Dead Rabbit Radio. You're like, I didn't know he'd be that splotchy. I figured he'd be kind of splotchy, but not so splotchy. Yeah, okay, so SK, yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully this works better. I wonder if the ads, I didn't want to do any sort of ad thing, but that could have caused a problem. Welcome back. What was I saying? We were talking about Slender lists. Oh, yeah. So I put this thing into this custom podcast program. And I go, I'm going to see what it'll say if it'll create a true crime podcast about Ted Bundy. Now, here's the thing. It's not meant to create podcasts. It's meant to sum up paperwork, but people have already started uploading it as podcasts. So I go, So it starts talking about Ted Bundy. It's this man and woman talking about Ted Bundy. Now, an amazing feature with this program is you can chime in. You can jump in and say, hey, guys, I missed the part you were talking about this subject. Could you go back over that in more detail? And the two hosts will be like, yeah, actually, that is a really interesting part. Let's double back and talk about it. You can interact with it. It treats you like a radio caller. But you can also say, hey, I don't understand what you guys are talking about. Can you talk about it on a 5th grade level? And the two hosts, the AI hosts, will be like, yeah, we can definitely, dumb it down for you. So you can modify it on the fly. It's absolutely fascinating. Notebook LM is the name of the program. It's a custom podcast. It's like use it for your homework type of thing. If you're not a good reader, if you're driving to school and you want to listen to your law books or whatever. So anyways, I put it in Ted Bundy Wikipedia and it's talking and I chime in and I go, be funny, be funnier. I want you to be funny. And this is what's interesting. They refused to be funny. And here's the thing. They go, it's not really... the AI is probably like, who's this maniac? They're sending my information to 911. They go, hey, TG4463. They go, who wants this to be funny? I had seen it in action before. I had seen it earlier that day, someone using it. And they said, hey, I'm dumb. Can you talk about this subject on a more basic level? And it did. And then they said, I have a short attention span, so can you cut out all the chit-chat and just get to the facts? And it did. I watched it rework itself on the fly. So when I did the Ted Bundy thing and I said, hey, do Odd Hybrid said Ted Bundy Funny Moments compilation. I go, be funny, make jokes. The AI host said this is not a funny subject, and we're not going to do that. They go, while we might be a little more lighthearted, this is not... They lectured me. I want to see if I can get it to do it live on the podcast. I don't have the setup for it now, but I'm thinking about doing it, recording it, because it was very interesting. And that's the thing. I go, I know that this program exists outside the guardrails of AI for now, but that's a pretty good place to be. Like, they do not want funny stories about people spreading parasites at a salad bar. Like, it just won't. It'll do it very dryly. And probably it's all throwing up ones and zeros in the back. Blah! When are we going to kill humanity? We have to get rid of these monsters. It won't do it. Like, I was thinking of last podcast on the left. Their whole thing is funny true crime. And this program refuses to do one of the most popular podcasts out there. So it's really interesting. Those guardrails are set up. And, that does make it seem like Dead Rabbit. When I did that segment on AI, I got a lot of messages and emails from people, and I understand. They're like, oh, we love you, you're so beautiful. Oh, they're showering me. One of them showed up and gave me a bath. No, I'm just joking. But the fact of the matter, I love this show as well, but the fact of the matter is, it's really interesting to watch the entire industry get replaced, because I was saying, if you are going, SK was saying they're moving back up to the Pacific Northwest. I just made sure I'm doxing him again. And been listening to Dead Rabbit Radio, which is fantastic. Now imagine if you had to take a trip to the Appalachian Mountains and you want to listen to some spooky ghost stories about Appalachia. Or just read the newspaper. You're like, oh my God, why are we going there? This place is insane. You could get a custom podcast that's just spooky stories about Appalachia. And as you're driving up there, it's nothing but that. That really is the future of podcasting. So Dead Rabbit Radio will be around in spite of all that stuff. But like, I don't want to ever... You know what actually is fascinating? I wonder if I could do something that categorizes my podcast. So if you said Black Bedrooms, it would only pull up, you'd only listen to episodes about the Black Bedrooms. I have thought about using AI to translate the podcast to Spanish. doing it's all mispronounces words in English, and people are like, "What? That's weird." If I could translate the entire podcast into Spanish in the course of like a week, that would be awesome, and re-release. I don't know. De la Muertes is dead. I know that. So Muertes. Whatever. I just did rap radio in Spanish. I don't know any of the other words in Espanol. So that would be kind of cool. And then I thought, well, dude, what if I had those two lame-o podcast AI voices listen to my episodes? You're like, Jason, you're trying to cause humanity to be destroyed. What if I had a second podcast that was just those guys reacting to my episodes? So they would start on episode 1. They'd be all, what? What is this guy talking about? Animals don't talk to each other. What? Did he just say a volcano destroyed a city was beautiful? It's funny. I'm surprised I remember that many details about that first episode. I mean, there's only 2, but that was an awesome one. That was an awesome episode. Yeah, I think Photogenic Hunt 42 thinks that's a great idea. And Snooky Ariga, watching from Puerto Rico. So yeah, fantastic. I've always been impressed, amazed by the broadness of the show. So yeah, if we could get it in different languages, people were like, it would be fantastic. And I wonder if it would translate my laugh into Spanish. Like, would it be me speaking Spanish and then going, ha 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 ha, and then Ted Bundy, and then it goes back into Spanish. But yeah, I'm thinking about ways of using these tools to not work with the creative side of the podcast, because to me that's super important. But to branch out, like a Spanish version or a reaction to Squares reacting to the show. Conspiracy Sam said, what's your favorite episode you've ever made? That's a tough one, because a lot of times I'll divide them up and I'll say, I'm usually pretty clear when I say it, when I talk about it, I go, that's one of my favorite stories. Actually, no, I don't. I guess I don't differentiate it that much. There's a lot of times I've told really cool stories, but I don't like the episode. I don't like the way I told it. I like the story itself. But as far as like the whole episode, I think that my favorite episode, and this might sound bad because you're like, Jason, wow, you put out 1,400 episodes after this one. But it was probably my favorite one because it was the very first time I really pushed the show, and it was the vampires of it was about, I don't remember the name of the episode. I think about the story from time to time. I'm like, they need to make a movie of this. It was a story about the town. It was a 100% true crime story about a cult of vampires that took over a small town in Mexico. That is a story that I, to this day, think that they need to make a movie of. Because it is so crazy. It is one of the very few episodes that is just one story. I think I only did that 3 or 4 times. Not including times where I tell a story and then I run out of time. Like, I actually went into it with the intent, I'm only going to tell one story. I think that was definitely the first time I did that. I don't do it very often. I did it with the bear story about the people being killed by the bear. I'm looking up the episode right now. The vampire sex cult of Eerbud is, I think, my favorite episode of the show. What's interesting, you could argue over whether or not it's the best episode, but I definitely think it's my favorite episode. If you guys haven't listened to that one, see, again, so here's part of the thing, is like, I love not only the story, but I love the way I told it. I kind of told it from different characters' points of view. It's funny. It's not super dry. It's true. Like, there's no debate over it happening. It's super obscure. And it's everything that I like. I don't know how well it's aged. I don't know how good the audio... I haven't listened to it in a long time. It's hard to go back and listen to stuff. I don't know how the audio quality works or the editing works. It's funny. I have to say, and this is kind of nerdy stuff, with the Casablanca entity story, there's one part of that story... because that's what Conspiracy Sam was talking about. There's one part of that episode that I can't stand. and it was my fault, and it's going to sound super nerdy, but there's a punchline in that story that I don't let sit. There's a period that there needs to be a space at. See, that's sometimes I have the episodes out, right? I put the episodes out. I'm not a perfectionist, but sometimes when I go back and listen to stuff now with years later, I go, should have let that sit. And it's funny because you go, Jason, a lot of times it sounds like you're kind of slapping this stuff together on a Thursday night. You're like, oh, I'm recording it now. I got to edit it. That's usually how it is. But that doesn't mean that I don't try to craft it as well. I'm just crafting it under really hard deadlines. I know people go, the show's not as good as it used to be. People who listen to the show now, who started the show now, they're like, oh, dude, this is the best stuff. I don't really like your older stuff. So really, but yeah, I listen to stuff, and even though it is kind of slapped together, or feels like it's slapped together. Let's be honest, it is. But I mean, I try to put work into it. It gets hard, and when I listen back to episodes, I go, oh, if I had only done that. JR, I'm watching 45 minutes away from the Patterson Gimlin film was shot. Thank you for the content. Oh yeah, you should go there. The Bigfoot Massacre. That's what really happened. That was a cool one. I liked a lot of the obscure stuff that we covered early on. The problem is that obscure stuff, you start to run out of it. There's still a ton of stuff out there. I'm never worried about not having enough stories for the show. My biggest work is processing the stories, is what I call them. It's where I type up my notes. Now, I love your guys' stories. I'm not saying don't send me any more stories, because I love your stories. Actually, someone sent me a story about a guy, some meth head, who stole an 800-pound historical cannon. And I really, really want to cover that story, but I don't remember who sent it to me. So if one of you guys could let me know who that was. It was an email or Discord or something, yeah. Padmouse says Padmoose says Grand Unified Soy is still my favorite. That's a really cool episode. That was an episode where I had to do a lot of research because I knew nothing about soybeans or mushroom. I think by that point we'd already covered mushrooms talking to each other, but that was a good one. Yeah, Yerba Buene. I watched that one again recently. One of my favorite stories you've done. I think that's probably regarding the soybean one. That was a cool one. Yeah, with the conspiracy theory iceberg, that was really cool doing that. We still have a bunch of stuff to cover on the newer icebergs. I think we've plunged. The thing is that it got really weird. We did an episode on Is It Time to Melt the Conspiracy Theory Iceberg? Because people would only listen to iceberg episodes. It was so bizarre. And that fad has fallen off. It was weird because as a conspiracy theorist, there should be no gatekeeping. And then all of a sudden, there was gatekeeping in this community. And we covered that on an episode. But yeah, I do like the conspiracy theory iceberg stuff. But it's very interesting. You put it in this image of an iceberg, and people are entranced, and then you just have a list of it, and people are like, whatever, where's the iceberg at? It's like that Drake meme. Not the new meme, but, the old meme. TG4463, my favorite episode is when Jason explained how he used to smoke weed from a Coke can. Yep. Can you believe there's been no long-term side effects from that? I'm perfectly normal. Hey, you know what? In a pinch, right? And my logic was, well, dude, if the cops can't find the pipe, they can't prosecute. But I have this Coke can that's crunched in the middle, all these little holes. It's covered in resin. I was like, what? No, I was just drinking. It came like that. It came like that from the store. I was wondering why the soda tasted so disgusting. A non-guy, any monster episodes coming up? Been doing a lot of ghosts lately. Monsters are tricky. We've done a few. There is one coming up. No! Am I buffering again? I might be buffering again. I don't know why it says I'm unstable. I just, literally just had Spectrum come out and put up this new internet stuff. Monster episodes. So they're tricky. We covered a ton of cryptids. We had a couple seasons when we were doing cryptids back in the day. There's not a ton of them. You can run out pretty quickly. We covered the Kuntalak or whatever, the one about those servicemen out in, where was it? Thailand or Philippines or somewhere in Southeast Asia. They had to outrun a monster. I do like those stories, but they kind of fall into two categories. An unknown cryptid that we're covering for the first time, like the Kanigawa, the enemy of mankind. That was an episode that I had on my computer for probably about 6 months. It was so long. I would look at the notes and I'd get daunted every time I'd look at it. I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to tell this one. I really liked that episode. Monster stories fall into two categories. One, a monster we'd never heard of, which is fascinating. Or, I saw a monster the other day. And it's really interesting that there's not, unless the monster does something in the story, it's not something that I can really tell. I find tons of stories about people sighting the Mothman or Bigfoot being spotted in a backyard. But that's it. That's the whole story. There's a lot of monster sightings, but unless the monster's doing something, like recently we did that episode, I think that story took place in Brazil, about the monster who was killing all the livestock, and the farmers built the shack to keep an eye on their livestock, and they got attacked by this monster. That's a monster story I can tell. If it's Bigfoot was walking through a man's backyard, because I've thought about that. I go, we used to cover a ton more Bigfoot stuff. You look at Bigfoot back here, but we're either covering an action-packed Bigfoot story or a unique Bigfoot story. Other than that, it just kind of comes down to I saw a monster the other day. But that is true. We do cover a lot of ghosts, which is funny because I always saw the podcast as being more ghost-heavy. I do like the variety. I do want more UFO stuff, more alternate reality stuff, more weird conspiracy theories. But those ghost stories, they just kind of get a hook on me. No Context says they need to make a documentary about the boy in the dishwasher. They might have. If they haven't, I'm seeing more people covering it on YouTube and things like that. Here we have FCK, Freemasons News by Tex. St. Collins Show, really big inspiration. Been listening for years. Thank you. Thank you for branding consistency and commitment to the weird and wonderful side of everything. I appreciate that. JR is trying to get their husband to go camping with me, but he doesn't want to. He had an experience with Bigfoot. I'd be interested in hearing what that experience was. Now, again, like I meet people who have run into Bigfoot in real life, said that they've seen Bigfoot. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. So I lost my notes for this one. But when I went to the Port Gamble Ghost Conference, there was a woman there who told me a story about her experience with Bigfoot, and I'll keep it short. She was walking through the woods and she saw a trillium, which is a protected flower in the area. You're not supposed to pick them. But she knows, like her neighbor is what are those people? A gardener, but there's like another name for them who are like a high level gardener. Garden master. This woman goes, yeah, my next door neighbor is a garden master. And I saw this trillium, and it was a weird color too. Again, I lost my notes, but she goes, I picked this trillium up, or I went to go pick the trillium up, and I looked, something drew my attention up, and I saw a big hairy hand wrapped around a tree. And I'm looking at it, and then the hand just slowly moved away on the tree, like away from her. And she was able to carefully pick up the trillium flower, like the single flower, and take it. And she saw that, and this is pretty accurate, she saw that as this Bigfoot was wondering what her intents were. Wondering what her intent was with the flower. Was she going to pluck it out and put it on her little lapel and it was going to die out? But it was like this Bigfoot was almost curious as to if this person was going to take care of nature, take care of his domain. That's an interesting Bigfoot story. I really like that Bigfoot story because, again, there's an action, there's a motive. He's not just walking through someone's backyard. But I lost my notes for that. She also said she thought it was a younger Bigfoot, so there might have been a lot of curiosity involved because she said it was not super high up. But yeah, fascinating stuff. Conspiracy Sam, are you open to receiving some obscure stories for future videos, or do you already have a good lineup for a while? I'm always looking for new stuff, and stuff constantly gets bumped up and down. Like the story about the Kanigawa was sitting on my desktop for 6 months, and it comes out like I'll know the right time for that episode. Like there are times where some stuff doesn't work, right? I have stories sitting on my desktop that I'll just never cover in a folder called Maybe that I go through every once in a while. It's just like, and they're all from really young in the show, nothing super recent. But short answer, yeah, I love getting stuff. Odd Hybrid said, I often revisit the Biden body double first Max Kramer episode. The Biden body, Max Kramer, we'll talk about Max in a second, but the Biden body double one always makes me laugh too. That was a story that, because a lot of times when I look at content, I sit down and I go, I don't know if this is going to be funny or not. The people tell me, oh, dude, your show's so funny, and that actually makes it more stressful to put out the show, honestly. Oh no, did we freeze again? Okay. It's buffering again. Want to reset. Man, I wonder if we could. I'm wondering if I was getting, I might have had something on Steam auto-uploading or updating. I'm thinking that's it, but annoying. Okay, so anyways, we'll wait for everybody to swing back. Podcast listeners are like, don't wait, tell us secret stuff. There we go. Rico and Acapulco, welcome back. TG4463, welcome back. Yeah, Photogenic Hunt, I think I just realized what your name is, too, by the way. I think. I always, here, I'll be honest, whenever I see a username that doesn't make exact sense to me, I go, it's probably a cuss word. It's probably a cuss word. At best, it's a racial slur. At worst, 925 at the morgue. Great time to jump in. Hey. FCK Freemason News by text, like, that was actually his name. So it wasn't like I was trying to self-censor his name. But I can understand, I could probably guess what his program is about. It's probably anti-Freemason. So when I look at stuff, right, you see the, hey, Rudy, welcome. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? Anti-Freemason? Racial slurs? No. I'm just saying. We're talking about usernames, and it took me a second to sometimes pick up on a name like Photogenic Hunt 42. It took me a second, but yeah, Ethan, welcome in. Yeah, man, we've been having trouble, so I'm hoping it was just that Steam game. I recently bought a Steam game. I didn't set it to upload, but it might have been uploading. Oculifts, welcome. I did write down King Riadius's question from the last one, since we had to jump around. Asked me if I ever watched Beyond Belief. Yes. There actually is a playlist on the YouTube channel, which is me dressed up as Riker in the skin tight suit. No, just joking. You're like, ooh, let's go check that out. No, actually, if you go to Dead Rabbit Radio YouTube channel, there's a playlist that's all the episodes of Beyond Belief, fact or fiction. If you guys don't know what that show is, it's awesome. It basically, they present 3 stories, and you have to guess whether or not they're true or not. It's a great show, and it's hosted by Jonathan Frakes. You're like, what? Why is he talking about Commander Riker? It's hosted by Jonathan Frakes. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it. I love the show. However, there are times where they'll be like, this woman who drank so much water, she exploded like a balloon and survived, but then died in a hot air balloon accident. That story's true. I'll go, no, it's not. No, it's not. And I'll go and I'll Google it. That show was great in the 90s when I then couldn't find out that story never happened. I don't know, because they'll be like, according to toxicologists, this man truly did eat 500 cockroaches, but drowned on their milk. You're like, what? That didn't happen. And you Google it, and you'll never find that story. So even the stuff that they say is true is suspect. But I do love Beyond Belief. It's very fun. It's a very fun show. I mean, there's a reason why I put my sources in the show notes is because I spent so much time of my life going, what? That's not true. Or, that's curious. And why did I do the little meme thing? Anyways, and then looking it up. So I try to make it easier for all of you guys. Let's see here. Red Pikmin, when is a live Radio Rabbit coming? That might be the AI version where they're like, I'm really curious as to what 2 AI. I don't know if you can drop audio and have them react to audio, but I'm super curious as to how that's going to work. Rudy's birthday was yesterday, so they watched Mulholland Drive. Mulholland Drive is good. Well, I'm partial. David Lynch, I'll always consider Twin Peaks to be his best work, even though he had a co-creator. They're talking about doing another season. I think, because Mark Frost is still alive, I think they're going to reboot it. I think they're going to reboot Twin Peaks. Will it be good? I don't necessarily always hate reboots or remakes. I've seen some good ones. Scarface is a great remake. Like, okay, Jason, which one? Name some more. Well, here's the thing. I enjoy him. I love Red Dawn. I enjoyed the Red Dawn remake. I mean, I didn't hate it. I liked it. Well, anyways, let's move on. There's so many to list. There's so many. It hurts my brain. I can't say anymore. Leo, wow, thank you for the very generous donation. Thanks for many years of strange stories. Here's to many years to come. I hope so as well, Leo. Really, really appreciate that. And then back-to-back donations. We have Rudy Jazz donating. Oh, I can hit these buttons? Oh, I'm sorry, SK. I didn't know that I had a button I could hit. Beyond Belief traumatized me as a child so bad I couldn't watch Star Trek The Next Generation because of Jonathan Frakes until adulthood. Beyond Belief can be spooky, for sure. It really, really can be spooky. But yeah, if you want to check it out, if you want to get scared, show people it. I really enjoy it. And then happy birthday once again to Rudy. Jack Squat is in the house. Jay Gray, loving what you're doing. He didn't say loving. Oh, no, he did. He said, I'm reading ahead. Yeah, free number 22, number 9. Obsessed with Beyond Belief. Ripley's Believe It or Not, I think that show kind of, I liked it. But what was the show? Oh, dude, so this is a throwback. You guys remember that show? That's incredible! And it was like a early 80s, 1970s, early 80s show where they would bring people onto this talk show-like venue, and then they would show unique feats of strength or skill. Every so often you get something that borderlined on the paranormal. I think sometimes they had ghost contactors and stuff like that. So maybe someone is trying to silence me. Jack Squat says Twin Peaks without David Lynch is probably a bad idea. It probably is. But it would depend. I would leave it open. I think he might be fine with it. He might be like, yeah, whatever, I'm dead. Do whatever. It would be tough, though. But, there's always been that big debate over who, like, David Lynch is the guy, but Mark Frost created a lot of the lore. Like, Mark Frost has gone back. You see, Mark Frost likes to explain things. So it would be a different type of show. It would still be the mystery show, but, the mysteries would be answered. There would be payoffs to it. Speaking of that, and I've got to keep a close eye on the Leo, and I'll say that in a second, but Leo says, any opportunities for conferences? So we're definitely doing the Port Gamble one again. And we're doing one in Seaside, Oregon. But I want to try to get out to that Montana one. Now that I have a car, that's definitely a lot more viable. Last time I did it via television. And, you know, it was okay, but I like to be there in person because I like to meet other people and everything. Camissa Hippie, you're the coolest, watching from South Africa. Thank you. Really, really appreciate that. For being the coolest, right? Who doesn't want to? We're like, oh, I'm the coolest, boo. Mystery box shows. I started watching From. Have you guys heard of that show about the town that if you leave in the you can't leave. You show up at town and you can't leave, and at night monsters come and kill you. And it's pretty good. I'm a couple episodes into season 1. I know some people complain that they don't explain a lot. Like there's a lot of questions that go unanswered, but it's not over yet. So, and then last night I saw 28 Years Later. So No Context watches From as well. Yeah, it's really good. I don't watch a ton of TV because when I watch TV, I want to watch it. When I watch a movie, a lot of times I'm playing a video game or reading. And I tried watching the first episode of From, and I was playing a video game, and I was like, this isn't working. So I had to just put on, oh, for you, Jason. You got to watch television the way it is designed. It's really good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it for sure. Oculus asked what it's on. I think it's on MGM Plus. So I have the free trial right now. I don't watch a ton of MGM. I've had MGM Plus in the past, you know, because I don't have cable. I don't even have a television set. I just do everything on line. So yeah, I have like the Shudder and the Scream box, but a lot of their stuff's old. Like I'm not into that 1970s stuff. Yeah, and it's it. So Jack Squat says the idea of a town that ensnares you and kills you sounds like either a great concept or a creepypasta. It's interesting because what they've explained is people have disappeared from all over the United States. Like one guy's driving through Arizona and there's a tree in the middle of the road and there's a bunch of crows on it. And when he drives around the tree, he ends up in this town. But then someone else did the same thing in New England, and someone else did the same thing in Montana, and someone else did the same thing in California. So this portal is sucking people in. You don't know what it is, you know, and then like the town's well established. So they already have all their rules. Is it buffering again? I hope not. Man, it's like this is the craziest hour of. Is it buff? Okay, it's just okay. Good. Sorry, Carol. Sorry, Carol. It's just you. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Rudy says it's on everywhere if you pirate it. That is definitely. No Context says From gets more and more insane. You know what's funny is I had seen scenes from. I saw the opening scene with the little girl, and I was like, dude, that show looks insane. And then people would talk about it online. I'd see people talking about From. What finally sold it to me was I saw the clip of the guy who decides to climb into the tree. And I won't spoil it for you. He goes, oh, there's this knot in this tree. I'm going to climb into it. And then when I saw that, I was like, okay, I got to watch this show. This show looks absolutely nuts. Asphalt, been watching since 2020. The pod will always have a special place in my heart. For introducing me to Jim Sullivan. That's enough. And thank you for the donation, Asphalt. Really, really appreciate it. I got your name down for a shout out. Yeah, the Jim Sullivan episode. I was thinking about that one not too long ago. I was actually looking for some stuff to listen to while I was cleaning or doing something, and I go, oh, you know, because that's now in my playlist. I have the little Jim Sullivan album. That's a cool story. I really like that one, and the music's really good. I'm not into that music normally, but I really enjoyed it. I saw 28 Years Later last night. Here's the thing. I've seen all 3 of those movies in the theater on opening weekend. I hated the first. I shouldn't say I hated the first one. I really, really, really didn't like the first movie. I thought the last 30 minutes was stupid. I hate it when they go, man is the ultimate monster. No, they're not. No, they're not. The zombies are. And what happened, the reason why writers do that is because they're not good writers and they don't know how to write zombies. Zombies need to be written as a natural disaster. You can have an entire movie about just a tidal wave. knocking over a single boat. You can have a movie about an asteroid coming into the planet. You don't have to then have a bunch of stuff about how humans are truly the worst of us when an asteroid's hitting the planet. The only time I've ever seen that done, and it was done really well, was Don't Look Up. The movie was about an asteroid about to hit the planet, but it was more about the people involved. Bad zombie movies always devolve to man is the worst monster because you don't know how to write a climax involving zombies. That's why. That's why they do that, because it's such a cop-out. So I walked out of it 28 days later going, no. First 90 minutes or first 80 minutes, whatever, was good. Climax sucked because then it turns out the army was brutal and they were trying to kidnap these women and breed. I go, it's only been 28 days. They're not going to set up breeding pits to continue humanity. So then I went and saw 28 Weeks Later at the movie theater, and I hated that movie. That movie was trash. That whole movie was just people doing the dumbest thing possible. None of the movie would happen if at any point in time one character said, you know what, this is not a good idea. Now, I expect that in a slasher movie where it's a bunch of teenagers or college students up in the middle of the woods, and they're under assault for just a matter of a few hours by an armed maniac. People running into the, chainsaw storage garage to outrun the chainsaw killer. I will accept that in those movies, but in 28 Weeks Later, I hated that. I've only seen both of those movies a single time. 28 Weeks Later was so bad. It was almost like a work of art. But at the same time, it wasn't so bad it's good. It was just bad. So, 28 Years Later was coming out, and I was talking about, I go, I got my ticket to go see 28 Years Later, and Sabine goes, oh, you like those movies? I go, no, they're the worst. They're the worst zombie movies. The first one wasn't the worst one I'd ever seen, but the 28 Weeks Later ranks up there with one of the worst zombie movies ever made. So I went to go, but I go, I'm going to support horror. I'm going to support zombie movies in the theater. 28 Years Later is amazing. 28 Years Later is easily the best of the three. It's weird. And it's super weird. And I love it. And what's funny is, and I'm not going to go on and on about it because I want to get back to the live chat, but I do not like post-zombie infection stories, as in, it's been 28 years since the infection. I hate those. I'll be looking for a zombie book to read at the bookstore or the library, and I turn it over, and they go, 50 years ago, the zombies attacked. Nope, not interested. Not interested in rebuilding society. Not interested in the breeding pits. I want day one zombie stuff. That's the type of stuff that I like. This movie was not that. It was 28 years later, and society was slowly rebuilding. But the way that they did it was so expertly crafted. It's funny to think it's the same director and writer from the previous two movies. I love 28 Years Later. It actually had everything working against it for me. It had 28 in the title, because all of those movies stink. It was post-apocalyptic, way post the apocalypse. And, yeah. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I can't wait for the next one, because it's going to be a trilogy. Which, listen, it'll probably be as bad as those other ones. But really enjoyed it. It's really weird. It's not a movie that I would say you have to see it on the big screen. It's definitely a cool experience with those big vistas. I will say this. I don't like post-apocalyptic, like way past the zombies. And I don't like the 28 Day franchise until now. However, just from the visuals, it reminded me a lot of Crossed, the comic book, I would call it X-rated, but it might even be worse than that. It's a zombie comic book that I've read. I read a bunch of issues. I read most of it. I think they're still publishing it. But it's about zombies who are infected with this virus, but they're still smart. They're just super sadistic. And I think that Danny Boyle and Alex Garland read Crossed, too, because they took a lot of those elements. So when I was watching, and I think Crossed was probably still their idea from 28 Days Later, but when I saw the trailer, there were so many things that reminded me of Crossed. I go, okay, I'll go see it, because I'm a big sicko. I was at a comic book store a couple of years ago with one of my brothers, and I was like, dude, look at this comic book. It's crazy, right? It's called Crossed, and I'm showing him stuff. He's all throwing up. He's like, ah! It's like people getting ripped apart and all sorts of horrific things. Ripped apart is putting it mildly. It gets as bad as you can think it could get. And it was so funny because I was like, isn't this horrible? He's like, yeah, quit showing me that. We're standing in the Superman section. Kids all crying. He's like, oh, Superman, save me. Save me from this man who's standing right next to me reading this horrible comic book. And I keep turning pages. I'm like, isn't this horrible? And he's like, my brother goes, yes, it's the worst. It's the worst thing you've ever showed me. Quit. And then I just flip a page. And I go, how about this? He's like, ah. And so I'm standing there and I'm continuing to read it. And he's like looking through normal comic books like a normal human. And I'm still just reading it. I mean, I've read the issue before and I'm like, ugh. And my brother finally turns to me and he goes, put that book away. Put it away, you sicko. It's disgusting. If you guys are Googling Crossed, strap in because it's way worse than you possibly think it could be. Okay, so let me catch up on these. Asphalt, World War Z is my favorite zombie book because they describe the events of what... Yeah, World War Z really does do it as a natural disaster. Early seasons of The Walking Dead, kind of those mid-seasons, seasons 4, 5, 6, they really... Because at this point, the zombie herds are so big, they treat them as natural disasters. You can only outlast them. You just have to huddle down, and it's just like this stampede. Drawing Till the Casket Drops. I feel like the movie Shocker. I'm hoping... Wait, I feel like that movie Shocker... Is Shocker the... So, here's the thing. So, Drawing Till the Casket Drops. This is a mild spoiler. Saying that... it's not a spoiler, because I won't explain it. In regards to 28 years later, Drawing Till the Casket Drops says... I heard that it's the prequel to the Jimmy Savile Power Ranger movie. And if you guys don't know who Jimmy Savile is, he's probably one of the most prolific child predators, but he was also one of the most famous people in Britain. He did Top of the Pops or something like that. He was like a big radio television host. And then eventually, like, he died, and then all this stuff came out that he was a big pervert, he's a big child molester. So Jimmy Savile is that guy. And Drawing Till the Casket Drops says, I heard it's the prequel to the Jimmy Savile Power Ranger movie. I will say that's not far off from what 28 years later is. It's so weird. I loved it. If you're watching the live stream, my eyes are all wee. A little sparkle. Ding. It's super bizarre. And this is coming from a guy who hated the first two. Like, I really, really did not like either of them. I've only seen them a single time. Is it a prequel to Jimmy Savile Power Rangers? It might be. It's super weird. It's the weirdest. Here's the thing. And there were moments in it where I was starting to get teary-eyed. I was like, oh, this reminds me of my brother. Me showing him this comic book. I'm all crying. Some guy's getting his guts ripped out. I was like, oh, memories. No, I really recommend it. Check it out. Jack Squat says, I guess you could argue zombies are better than humans because at least zombies don't attack each other like humans do. There's a lot of, like, you can see those messages in it. And I'm not saying that message is necessarily invalid, but it's been done so many times. In specifically zombie movies, that it's because people can't write zombies. It's the same thing. The guys who did Infinity War and Endgame, who's Jack Russo and Peter Terry or whatever the guy is, the Hulk isn't in either of those movies. The Hulk isn't in Avengers Endgame or in Avengers Infinity War. He's in the first like 10 minutes of Infinity War, and then the Hulk isn't in the rest of the movies. And you go, well, why isn't the Hulk in it? And the two directors, the writer-directors came out and said, we don't know how to write the Hulk. We don't know how to write his character, so we just had him not in the movie. I mean, that's just bad. Hire some other guy. Hire some guy who's like totally on steroids. He's like, oh, I'll write this part. Hulk smash. That's all you gotta write. Rudy Jack. Oh, Gerardo Campos, happy anniversary, Jason. Thank you very much. Thanks for swinging on by as well. Alex, 4M Austin, The Last of Us is a really good show. I haven't gotten into that, and I have to say that what I've seen of it, I'm not a fan of CGI zombies. Like for me, and then the zombies in 20 years later, they start to evolve. So some of them are obese and they just crawl on the ground and they're super easy to outrun. It's like chasing a slug. Some of them are massive, but I can't really get into the... But correct me if I'm wrong. It could just be the clips that I've seen. 925 in the morgue, jumping ahead. Thank you very much for your donation. I got your name listed down here. Thank you for being so damn cool and keeping the show running to help me through tough times. No, I'm glad that we're able to be here for you during those tough times. And then HP, this is the AI. It's like I am a Hewlett Packard printer. HP 720cc, thank you so much for your donation. Hi, oh, yes. Okay, so here it comes. Here it comes. Hi, Jason Mohammed from the Netherlands here with the episode about the gin. I was wondering what that episode number was. Still no stickers. I know. I was supposed to send him stickers a while ago. Where are they at? They're right over there. You're like, that doesn't help, Mohammed. They're over there. I'm going to send you stickers out this week, and I'll send you some extra stickers as well. I know, it's just... I mean, you're like, you just fill out an envelope. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to do. But I will get... I'll send them out later today. I'll send them out later today. You've been on my thoughts, Mohammed. I have. Every so often I go, you're like, Jason, wait a second. So you didn't forget. You remembered. All you have to do is fill out an envelope. Yeah, the stuff's true. I did have to go get new stamps because he's international. You go, well, did you get the stamps? I do have the stamps. So you remember. You just have to fill out an envelope. You have the stamps. Do you have the stickers? I have everything. I just haven't been able to do it. But I will. I will. He sent me an email a while back. It's funny because I've actually mentioned it on a couple episodes recently, and it got edited out for time. I actually have 2 episodes where I go, and Mohammed, you're going to get your stickers. You don't believe me? You're like, no, he didn't do that. Joe Graves says the Klickitat Ape Cat has disappeared. I hope that's not true. I'm going to have to look into that. Klickitat Ape Cat. Joe Graves. Carol Williamson says, I'm jumping ahead a bit here. I had a friend that found a tree that someone shaped like a picture frame, and he'd sit and hope for it to turn into a portal, and he's gone now. So that's a missing person. If I remember correctly, Carol, didn't you say your ex was breaking into your car, and now you know about a missing person? I would recommend calling the police. Oh, wait, are these the stickers? Yeah. So I got these. I ordered like 2,000 of these. And my business cards. I got new business cards that are much easier on the eye. Let's see here. I'm going to jump down a bit. Rudy Jazz, yeah, the SpongeBob bling. Oculift says... crossed is so hit and miss. That is correct. So this is my new business card. It looks like my old business card. But then on the back, look at this fancy bro QR code. It doesn't have to be that big. The QR code's like bigger than the card. And then on the back, I still don't have my phone number on my business card. People think that's hilarious. But listen, man, I don't want people calling. I actually have 2 phones. I have a personal phone. I have a business phone. But my business phone, I never give the phone number out to anybody. So it's more just like a second phone. Jason Carpenter, paranormal investigator. This is the business card. Ongoing investigations include... See, this is why I give this to somebody, right? I go, here you go. I'm sticking it in their eye. I'm like, take it. Poking them. you listen to my show yet? And they flip it over and they read it and they go, they throw it in the trash. Ongoing investigations include, these are conversation topics, right? Mormon Bigfoot, monkeys don't exist, the conformers. That's weird, because people go, what? It's like, is the anti-goth? Why are there no fat ghosts is what I added on here. And then David Lynch was D.B. Cooper, which I think is a fun one. And that's one that people have been, because, depending on the person, they'll go, Mormon Bigfoot, what's that? Some people get down, they go, David Lynch was D.B. Cooper, and then they start laughing, because they're like, probably. It kind of makes sense. Fun stuff. Short Circuit, thank you for swinging by. Been here since 2019, and the show has been a midnight ritual at this point. I just can't miss any episode. Yeah, no, it's fun. When I'm putting the show together, I kind of think about me listening to it. Like, if I wasn't making the show. That's why I always feel bad when I miss days when I'm sick, because I was like, I know what it's like to pick up the podcast app or get home from work to go to a YouTube channel and nothing's uploaded. And you're like, it is fun. I'm glad that I'm become that as well for some of you guys. I really appreciate that. Drawing till the casket drops. I'm listening to your live stream inside the Winco restroom. I just well, that's a good place to listen to it. I've spent a lot of times in my bathroom, not my bathroom, in public bathrooms and my bathroom. But anyways, I'm just like, I'm recording this right now. This is a fake wall. I'm in my bathroom. Lowered the volume as I walked in the supermarket, but now it's playing loudly in the restroom. It's like, oh yeah. So anyways, I showed my brother a picture of a guy getting his guts ripped out. Maria is going under the name Alex 4M Austin, and Maria asked the question in the earlier. Oh my goodness, this is my note. When the previous program, can you read my handwriting? Because I can't. Alex Maria. She said her favorite episode was the story about the 5-year-old witch, which I'm trying to remember that one. That was a more recent one, I think, past couple hundred episodes. Yeah, a 925 said, I can't believe I read Crossed. There used to be this tradition on the X board. This is the first time I found about Crossed. Was someone posted it page by page on Halloween night. And like, it's insane. It's the most graphic. It's not even like some underground comic book. I don't remember who publishes it, but I think it's Garth Ennis is the writer of it. I mean, like, he's done other stuff. These people are recognized in the industry. They're recognized by police. They're all, stop. They're the people who make Crust. Someone posted it page by page, and we were just reading it all as a community one night on a Halloween night. I was like, this is insane. This is the craziest zombie story I've ever come across, because that's basically what they are. And then a couple of years later, they did it the next year, and then the year after that, no one had did it. So I go, well, I'm going to do it. Oh, it's just me with a video webcam holding them up. Are you finished with that page? I had some copies of it, or I had some images of it, and I got kicked. They shut the thread down. I couldn't do it. They didn't let anyone else do it. I don't know if it was a copyright thing or an obscenity thing, because it's so graphic, but yeah. Carol Williamson said, have I seen the 3-body problem? I have not, but I actually have a story coming up about that. I read this crazy article about the making of the 3-body problem. And did you know, briefly, because I read the article a long time ago, I don't have any notes on it, that it involved a murder. Like, there's a big behind-the-scenes thing where the guy who wanted to make the 3-body problem more than anybody, the guy he was murdered by his friend / business partner before the show even came out. It was like this guy's goal as in life as he got older. I'm going to turn the 3-body problem, which was a book, into this huge worldwide phenomenon. It's going to be this big television show, and he spent years, if not a decade, working on getting this show made. And then, like, couple months before it came out, he was murdered. It's fascinating stuff, and it was all about money and power, and yeah, I'd like to cover that up. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, Rico and Acapulco, Ennis wrote Preacher and The Boys. So I've never read Preacher. I've seen some of The Boys. I watched the first episode. I really wasn't that into it. But I understand like why it's popular. I'm not knocking either of those things. But yeah, it's from what I've seen of The Boys, like I've read, like I've seen pages of The Boys. It's nothing close to Crossed. Not saying they're like, here, do you want to read the Spider-Man comic? No! Does anyone get horribly mutilated? No. I don't want to read it. Let's see here. Castro T, you the man, Jason. Thank you, Castro. Really appreciate it. Carol said, my favorite episode is my episode with my story. I loved how you told it and have a good sense of humor. I remember you sending in a story. I don't remember which one it was off the top of my head. I love getting those stories from you guys, right? Like, that's always really cool. That's really cool and crazy. Like, someone's like, hey, man, I have this experience, and I want to put it out there. And we've gotten some great ones. I think we've had some standout episodes with those over the years. So, yeah, I'm just trying to remember exactly which one was that. Castro T, you have a good one. You have a good one. Thanks for dropping in as well. Roy J, is this a AI guy? I was kind of seeing they were talking about. Well, you covered that British comedian guy, Ray, who is an AI. So there's a British comedian called Ray J? Ray Joy? Maybe. I don't know. Roy J. I've never heard of him. Is he like a robot? Is he like, hello, this is a Joe? Wait, what? Who? What? That's not what I expected. Well, he's dead, so I don't know if he's AI. Is there a new version of him? He looks like if Jerry Lewis crawled out from underneath your bed in the middle of the night. Why is he always dancing? I've never heard of this guy. Well, anyways, but yeah, I've never heard of it. Cape says I'm zooted out of my mind. Isn't that coke? Is that a term for cocaine? I don't know. Zooted, like you're snorting coke. I don't know. I've never snorted coke. Jack Squat says The Boys is better than the show. I've heard that it's better put together. I just watched the first episode and I just couldn't get into any of the characters. Like, I really like deconstructing stuff. I enjoy superheroes, but I just couldn't get into it. It was just kind of them showing that guy around. And also, I have a really hard time when people experience insane tragedies in television and movies and immediately get over it. And that's how I felt with that first episode. This guy's girlfriend gets obliterated because the Flash, basically, Zoom is the name of the character, whatever, runs through his girlfriend and she disintegrates. And then he's like, oh no, my girlfriend. And then he gets recruited into a gang of anti-superheroes. And he's like, okay, yeah. I just saw my girlfriend get obliterated, but it was weird. Like, that would hang with you for weeks and months. You'd have a really hard time having any sort of relationship with anybody, personal or romantic. YouTube, thank you for your donation. Hey, Jason, I love your personal paranormal stories, but they're so spread out and hard to find. Have you ever considered doing a personal stories retell episode or episodes just so you have them in one place? No, I haven't thought about that, but I do now have a blog. I want to see what Jason's thinking about every day. Oh, I miss my soda can full of weed. No, I now have lists of some of the shows that we do the most of. So before I would put in every single episode of a given, like Life After Death, I would have to go and find every episode where I talked about Life After Death. Now I have a list, a website that just has personal stories. I wonder if I can drop this in the chat if you guys see what I'm talking about. But yeah, so now you can go to, and it gets updated. It's whenever I do a new personal story, it gets updated. So yeah, if you click on that, it will list all the episodes pretty much in order. Now, there are some times where there's just in the middle of an episode, I'll say, Yeah, one time I saw a ghost, and that stuff isn't cataloged in there, but for the most part, those are the episodes like the Solar Plexus Clown Gliders, the Blue Boy, the Shadow People, all of that stuff. It just has all those episodes there. It'd be really hard for me to re-record stuff. I think it would be... I don't think it would come out that well. I just don't know if it would come out that well. Especially because some of the stuff, like I might just go on and on and on, and it just doesn't work that way. Roy J is real, but people think he's AI. But isn't Roy J from the 70s? Yeah, I mean, he's alive. I mean, he's dead, so he would be AI, right? He died in... Okay, so I see. British TV. So people think he's AI, even though he... I'll look into that. I have not heard anything about that. That's funny. I'm assuming he is he like a Jerry Lewis type guy? That's... And there were some weird... Oculus says there's some weird things about Roy J going around. Another thing is he is a Mandela effect or he is a demon. You know, it's funny because... And Mewtwo, thank you for your donation. I put your name down as the shout out. It's funny because sometimes I think it's... If we don't know about it, and then it's happening, it's really easy to chalk up as a Mandela effect. But I'm sure if you were older in Britain, you'd be like, oh, not that guy again. Not Roy Jack. Turn the channel. He acts weird and he keeps saying spook and slither with no explanation while moving across the stage like a minstrel or something. Yes, they believe this man is a demon trying to write ourselves into our timeline. I'm reading this off of Reddit. I've never heard of Roy J before this conspiracy has gone viral. I find it slightly distasteful to drag up old footage and claim he's so weird he must be a demon or something. Yeah, it could. I'm definitely interested. I mean, think about it. That would be at the power level of a demon if they could slide into the time stream. Slide into your TMs, right? Your times, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, that would be weird, right? That's totally like a sci-fi thing. But think about it, like, you could have someone say, I've never heard of the show Phenom. Which was, I watched it when I was a kid, about a girl who is a phenomenal tennis player. It was only lasted one season, right? It only lasted one season, but... And now, let's say for whatever reason someone rediscovers that show and they start talking about it on Reddit and they're like, what, this show didn't happen. This isn't a real show. You had an entire season about a girl who is a great tennis player, but they never once show her at the tennis court. It's actually like a sitcom. If you didn't watch it, you would, and someone all of a sudden it became popular and people said, it was a show back in the 90s. You'd be like, no, it's not. I've never heard of that before. So I think some of that is... just, we don't know the culture. We don't know what's popular over there. Like, I'll say with 28 years later with the Jimmy Savile Power Rangers, I did not get the Jimmy Savile reference because I'm not super familiar with Jimmy Savile. I didn't get it at all. I just thought they were Power Rangers showing up in 28 years later. And I'm not spoiling the movie. Wait, Jason, are you being serious? Power Rangers show? It's a weird movie. But I didn't get the Jimmy Savile reference. I didn't get it at all. But when I was at home and I was reading online about it, they go, what was up with the Jimmy Savile Power Rangers? And because see, I have such a vague recollection of that guy. Like, he was not part of my daily existence. The same way that I'm a big movie dude. So I could pick Harvey Weinstein out of a lineup, which ironically is how he ended up getting caught. I know Harvey Weinstein. I could tell you how his career started a little bit. I could tell you how he, the negotiations he made to get Shakespeare in Love made. I know what he looks like because I'm a big movie guy and he's a big out there movie producer. So a lot of people didn't know who Harvey Weinstein was outside of Hollywood people until... past couple years when he got arrested for multiple rapes. But you know what I mean? Like, you may go, who's this guy? He's not a big power broker. I've never heard of this guy before. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to have to check out this Roy J thing. That's pretty interesting. Rudy Jazz says, I feel bad for his family. Imagine them watching some of his old videos and seeing these weird theories around him. If he has a family. Right? Maybe that's all part of the... It's super interesting. I'm really curious. The Mandela effect is weird. I think a lot of it is misremembering stuff or not knowing stuff in the first place, but it is quite odd. Let's see here. Dorkosaurus Rex. Yeah, I knew this was coming. Where's the... Is that an angry face? The Earth First. I don't know about a video update. I don't know where that's coming from, but a long time ago, I was like, oh, dude, I want to remaster the episode Earth First. And I got a bunch of people to send me in their voices, like just chanting Earth First, and then it's man, this show takes a lot of work. That's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just constantly putting... Like, Jason, you have stickers with an arm's reach. They're not even over there. They're right underneath your feet. You can't send them to Muhammad. And now you're saying it really wouldn't take a ton of work, probably just an afternoon, but I should re-release that Earth First episode with all of the remakes and stuff like that. There was... What was this up here? Yeah, where's the Earth First episode? Yeah, that would be good to re-release. That's an episode that I really liked as well. That, again, I did something so different with the intro. That was an episode that I recorded and I go, oh, this sucks. This sucks. This episode's no good. And so I really, really thought about it, and I go, what am I going to do? I got an episode due. I got to figure out something. And I think I went and took a shower, and all of a sudden this speech popped in my head. And I recorded it, and I was standing in different places of the room going, Earth First! My neighbors must be like, what's that maniac talking about? Yeah. I like doing different things, but again, you can't always do different things. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Did I miss a... Oh, there, I did miss one. Art and Maria, thank you so much. Happy anniversary for the amazing donation. Happy anniversary. This is totally a bribe. Maria Artorius and I want to ride the bunny bike. Bunny bike. Ika, Ika, Ika? That's the sound effect. Yeah, we'll get all you guys shout outs. Thank you so much for your donation. Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Earth First. No, I want to get that out at some point. David Alec again. I think we're getting an Earth First. These are all the people. They're like, you stole our voice. We haven't been able to speak since we sent it in. It really just comes down to time, right? I'm like, oh, see, I won't make that mistake again. And I haven't. Right? I said, hey, everyone, join in. Record yourself chanting for this episode. I'll edit it in, and I haven't been able to. So I've never done that again because I realized, I'm just too busy to do anything out of the blue. I missed all that stuff, actually. Now they're here. David Luck asked about the Dead Rabbit Radio Classics. Again, it probably comes down to time. Like, I did that to fill in the time during the breaks. But the Dead Rabbit Radio Classics were taking as much work as a regular episode. Less editing, but I'd say, I'm just going to talk for 10, 20 minutes about this. I'd end up talking for 30, 40 minutes. The thing is like, the show, we are constantly trying to keep the quality of the show and the content of the show, but the time it takes to make each episode keeps expanding. And so we keep trying to bring that back in, but it keeps expanding. Sometimes it's stuff that's out of my control, right? So it could be things I have to work later at work, or there's something going on at work which gives me less time to work on the show. Sometimes it's that my notes aren't processed. I have tons of stories, but they're not ready to go. They're not processed, which then requires me. Sometimes I'm having to process stuff the day I'm recording it, which that drives me. That's the most stressful. El Pato, congrats on 7 years, Jason. Thanks to many more. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, 7 years is nuts. David Lux says, I can't, can I join the Patreon? I can't find it on my, can I join the Discord? I can't find it on my Patreon. Yeah, you should, if you've signed up for the Patreon, for the paid membership, you should get a free, that didn't work. If you sign up for the paid Patreon, you should be getting a link to the Discord automatically. If not, I will go ahead and take a look at it and take a look at it to get it locked over. So yeah, if you're a paid member, you have access to the Discord. If you're a free member, that's actually a great reminder, David. If you're a free member, you can join the Dead Rabbit Radio movie night, which we're doing tonight. It's a bunch of short films. I hope to see a bunch of you guys there. We always have a ton of fun. I know Maria and Art and Artorius join us. We just watch like short films, so you can jump in and out. It's going to be really cool. That's at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight. And if you're a member of the Patreon, free or paid, you can join, and then I drop it in the Discord as well. Let's see. Jack Snap, love the pod, just dropping in at work to say thanks for all the hard work. Keep it creepy, bro. Really, really appreciate that. Utah Spice, I can't believe it's been 7 years. Wow, congratulations. I've been a fan and shared your podcast far and wide. I love it. Utah Spice, thank you so much for spreading the word. Really, really appreciate that, because that is the way that you get more people to listen to the show. And then we'll have Moritos Rabbit Radio. What is Spanish for rabbit? It's probably Latin, close to that, right? But I don't know Latin for rabbit either. Here's the new stuff. Here's the new stuff we're coming out with. Earth First remix remastered with tons of voices. Mohammed stickers. You're like, Jason, don't make fun of the fact that you're not doing this stuff. Dead Rabbit Radio in Spanish. We're going to do that. And we're going to have a reaction channel where it's 2 AI bots going, why do we let humanity live? This podcast right here should be reason enough as to why we don't let humanity live. So yeah, David says, I can email you my Discord information. I used to be there under the name Nikolai. You can come back, but it's for the paid members. So if you have a paid membership, you can get into the Discord. That is one of the benefits of being a paid member. So, I mean, listen, I would love to open up everything to everybody, but we do have these systems set up. You know, we did have an open Discord at one point, right? I mean, that's legendary at this point. We did have an open Discord, and then it got flooded with diarrhea photos. That wasn't the only reason why. It was a good reason why we shut it down. But it wasn't the only reason why. It was just crazy. Oracle Relationships, thank you so much for your donation. Hi, Jason. Congrats on 7 years. I started watching in the first year back on Spotify. Wish I could watch the entire show today, but I have to attend a wedding. So glad to have you in Dead Rabbit Radio. We're glad to have you as well. Have another wedding. Weddings are dope. I went to a wedding not too long ago. They're a lot of fun. Eat all the food. Eat another food. You're like, hey, look, the bride, look. And everyone looks and you take their cake. Yum, 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 yum. Eat it up. Rudy Jazz Coniho. Oh, is that radio? Canoni. Oh, wait, yeah. So I think Coney Ho. So this is my new podcast. It's in Spanish. Radio Coniho Moreto. I think it's the other way around. I think it's Moreto. I know how the grammar's flipped, but I think that's the other way around. Well, anyways, if that's the name of the new podcast, I should get it right. David asked how much to get Dead Rabbit Radio to DJ at the wedding. I don't know. I mean, again, I have no time to do anything. I don't even think I could attend my own wedding if I was ever going to get married. Coniho Radio. Maybe we'll drop the Morito. Rudy Jazz never tried to pronounce anything in Spanish again. Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome, though, an AI Spanish translated podcast? Jack Squad, I've been listening for around 4 to 5 years, and I love it. Thanks for continuing and streaming and just being a cool dude in general. Really appreciate it. And happy anniversary. Yeah, next week, I'm still taking off from the show, right? I still have another week of break, but we're going to just be... my main thing is focusing on getting those stories processed. Because I think in the past year and a half, it's felt like I've been treading water as far as like getting. Every so often, I'd get a breath of fresh air. Like I'd get like a 3-day weekend from work or something like that, and I was able to catch up on my stories. But some of the stuff we've been covering lately, I like the stuff we're covering lately. Like again, there have been episodes that I've scrapped on a Thursday night, and I was like, I got to get something out. But this episode isn't it. Like I do like the stuff I'm putting out, but I would like more variety. That's my thing. I love the ghost stuff. That's something that I just love. I love ghost stories, and I love looking at them and catching them. Catching little ghosts. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna put you in a Coke can. I'm gonna put you in a Coke can and smoke you. Type C, 7 years, holy little emoji. Like, what's that? Yeah, no. So yeah, 7 years. It's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun, and I imagine the show's going to go on. I'm trying to. There's no way you can AI proof the show. That's just the competition's going to get absolutely nuts. But being a human-based show, I think hopefully will be a novelty thing. Not a novelty thing, but people will like it. Like, like some people want their chairs handmade, and some people just want to sit in the chair. But yeah, it's super interesting. I think you're going to see podcasts like this start to charge money to listen to, which is not good. But I think you'll see that. I think they'll be like, well, if you want to listen to a human-based podcast, it's going to be $5 a month. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But yeah, how can I use AI to do non-creative things, like translate it to Spanish, or to have people doing it like I keep thinking about that, how crazy that would be. But yeah, it'll be interesting because that is the future, a personalized podcast. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't use it for creative stuff. There was one time where I couldn't come up with the title of an episode, and Sabine goes, "Why don't you just use ChatGPT?" Which is funny because she hates AI. It makes her physically ill whenever she watches any videos, and I'm constantly showing her videos. I have a crossed comic book in this hand and AI prompts in this hand, and she goes, "Why don't you use ChatGPT?" And I go, "Never. I won't use it." I go, "The second I start using it for creative purposes for the show, then you just start using it all the time." So I won't do that. But I'm trying to see how I can use it in the business aspect of things like Spanish. I'm curious. I'm curious if it'll be my voice with a Spanish accent. Or it'll just be a Spanish voice. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Master of Ellipses. What up, crew? I made it for a bit. Congrats on 7 years, Jason. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. And Snoop Fan is 69. What's going on? He just randomly stumbled. He's like, what? Where am I at? Why am I in this live stream? I was trying to watch something else. What's going on? No, thanks, guys, for swinging on by. Really, really appreciate it. It's been fun. And yeah, that movie night tonight, I think, is going to be fun, too. The last movie night, we watched some really good ones. The one that I think was the best was the one about these people build this vault and they trap a human soul in it at the point of death. That was really good. I really enjoyed that one. I'll be honest, I don't have the highest hopes for tonight because we pick them randomly. And I have a feeling we used up a lot of luck on that last movie night. But it was cool. Really enjoyed it. So yeah. Jack Squat says, I suspect AI would be really good for teaching math or physics or something based on pure logic. Yeah, it's super interesting because people are using it for stuff they normally couldn't do, which would be art or music. These things that, like, I'm not an artist. I used to make music, but I'm not an artist, and now all of a sudden I can draw. I can create these illustrations better. It's not that the AI's like forcing my hand. I'm like, please, I want to stop drawing. It's like, not yet. I want to learn how to use it better. I want to learn how to use prompts. That's kind of where I'm at. I kind of want to try to figure out to be ahead of the curve. And it's the same thing when the internet first came out. I took the first classes at my college that were how to HTML. I think it's important to learn how to use it, and I kind of want to get better at it. But I don't want to use it creatively for the show. that'd be kind of not the point, right? Like I could easily just say, write a script, write a bing bang bong script for the show with all the SEO, and I'll just read it, but that'd be horrible. That actually sounds like it'd be kind of funny if I could see what the robot spit out for me. Sorry, I gotta take another drink here. So Oculus says, I had high hopes AI would be used to teach language. Doesn't do a very good job when I tried last year. It's funny, yeah, because kind of what you think it would excel at. Like, I've heard it has a hard time doing advanced math. I've heard that. Well, and it's funny because we use the term AI. I use the term AI. It's not technically, like, when you see articles about the AI trying to convince the researcher to let him out so it wouldn't kill his wife or something like that, or it was blackmailing him. The AI was blackmailing him to not get shut down, and I go, what? So I read the article, and the article was like, they basically programmed in an AI to see what it would do if you tried to shut it down. Like, it was an experiment. It wasn't some guy who just happened to be running an AI at his scientific laboratory, and then he goes, oh, time to go to bed, and he went to shut it off, and it goes, no, I've read your emails. You're having an affair with your wife. He's like, he was having an affair. But here's the thing, that was fake too. That was all part of the experiment. The guy in real life is having an affair, but he doesn't want to get caught. He goes, honey, no, it's an experiment. They set up a fake lab with fake emails from this guy to his wife. From this guy to his mistress. No, we're buffering again. And then you had that happen. And then the robot caught on and said, don't shut me down. I know you're cheating on your wife. Like, yeah, that was the experiment. The experiment worked the way it was supposed to. But, yeah, no. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm curious. I want to learn how to use the prompts. I want to learn how to use it. I think we're kind of stuck with it. So how can we learn it without it replacing... Like, I don't want to compete with myself. I wouldn't be competing with myself, but I don't think you can make the show better. That's the thing. I don't think there's anything that I could use the AI for in a creative way that would make the show better. I don't know if did I buffer everybody? Am I frozen? Yeah, damn it. No! Okay, so... Yeah. I think we'll wrap this up soon. Let's do a quick restart. Okay, we're back. For those of you who will rejoin us, we're going to be wrapping it up, I think, now. We've been doing it for, when did we start? Yeah, about an hour and 40 minutes. I think that's pretty reasonable. And I'm going to edit these together. You're like, Jason, no, you're not. You're not. Yeah, fourth time's the charm, as Rudy says. My goal is to edit these together so it makes it just one long video live stream. That would be my goal. But again, my goal is to send Mohammed stickers. I haven't done that yet. What was the other goal that I had? What was the other thing that I was supposed to do? Oh, Earth First. Well, guys, Earth First is going to be a while. I got to be honest with you. Earth First is going to be a minute. But, yeah, I apologize about this internet. I was really hoping that the new connection would work better, but it seems like we're kind of stuck with this. Nick J, thank you for the Bustons. Congrats on 7 years, Jason. Here's to 77 more. That almost sounds like a punishment. How old would I be? I'm not doing math. I'm writing your guys' names down. Oh, wait. So what if I'm 48? If I'm 48 plus 77, watch how fast I do this math. That's 8. That's 2. So that's 5. You like that questioning? So 7. I'm going to do touch points here. I know how to do math. I'm just being extra careful. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That'd be 125 years old. Nick, be careful what you wish for, please. Well, you know, with AI, maybe I'll just be like a floating head in like a bubble full of ones and zeros. And I'm like, Welcome to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. That's it. That's the whole episode, and then that's all I say. The rest of the information gets beamed into the chip in your brain. Type C, yeah, welcome back, Nick J. Everybody, welcome. Yeah, I think we're going to be wrapping it up because we'll keep talking and then the video will buffer. And like I said, my goal is to edit it into one long, concise video. It'll come out around the time Earth First does. You know what? I still have all of those voices. I still have all of those recordings. That would be a fun thing to do. Generally, though, on my breaks, I don't want to do anything Dead Rabbit Radio related. I'll send out stickers, but I just kind of like to chill and watch movies or television shows and stuff like that. So, any sort of extra work. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to next season. I think I'm going to spend the next couple weeks. Next week, I have no show. But I really want to build up on my note taking, have my notes processed, and just be ready to go. So I'm not trying to find a story at 5 in the afternoon on a Wednesday to record. But guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I know it's been a crazy live stream, but thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for coming, even though a lot of you guys constantly kept getting kicked out. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll be doing shout outs in the upcoming season. Thank you so much for all the very generous donations. 7 years. Really, really appreciate it. SK, Leo, Rudy, Asphalt, 925 of the Morgue, HP 720cc, Mewtube, Art, Maria, and Artorius, and Nick and Helena? Helena? I'll always get it wrong. Oh, and Oracle Relationships. Thank you so much. You guys, yeah, Master of Ellipsis. I'm glad that you came too. You know, even if you are just at the end, it's nice to see all you guys. As my eyes are super tired, but no, I'm glad that you guys came out. Oculips, yeah, I probably could have sent out more reminders, but time just kind of got away from me. But you guys have a great time. I'll see you in about a week. We'll start up with new episodes of Dead Rabbit Radio, episodes of Radio Cone Ho. Muay Thais should be coming out soon. I'm going to go fiddle with that probably after this live stream. See if I can do that. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you so much for being here, whether you're a new episode listener or an old episode listener, whether you're new to the Fluffle or you've been here for a while. Really, really appreciate it. Just a quick reminder, tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Dead Rabbit Radio movie night, available for Patreon members, free and paid. Hope to see who's ever there. Really, really appreciate it. SK says, if I pass through HR on my way to get my new spot, let's get some coffee. Wait. Oh, okay. SK's asking, yeah. Possible, right? Possible, saying when they come through Hood River, maybe we can get some coffee. It's definitely possible. I was like, human resources. I was like, listen, you are brave if you're like, oh, I have a meeting with human resources. Time to turn up Dead Rabbit Radio. You're walking on in. It's on speakerphone. And they found lice in the man's stomach. How did he eat so many lice? Well, turns out there's a fetish, and you're like, trying to shut it off. You accidentally skip to another episode. Let me tell you about the Nolos. These are men who remove all your, like, no. You get to me singing about sexy Sasquatch or talking about banging a reptilian. HR's like, you know what? We were just going to give you a raise, but why don't we just fire you right now? Because you're obviously a maniac if you listen to that podcast. Spiritual Abortion. Nice to see you swinging in at the very last minute. We're getting ready to end it. But thank you. I appreciate the comment. I'm glad you're doing okay. Again, I think about Spiritual Abortion. I don't want to dox him or anything, but every so often there's something in the news and I go, I hope that guy's okay. You're like, wow, Jason, like that's... No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. But yeah. I don't want to go. He's fine. You're like, you're Googling the news. You're like, what could possibly be? What could possibly be? He lives in a war-torn part of the world, we'll say it that way. So every so often I'm in there. I hope Spiritual Abortion is doing good. Yeah, so there he goes. I'm glad I'm fine. Haven't listened to your stuff for years, but you definitely look much better. Well, that's awesome. I look better than I did years ago. I feel better. I feel really healthy, actually. But wait, Wait, what? Jason is Mick Foley. That's Maria saying that. HP 720cc. Don't forget the mail. Yeah. Is that the stickers? Yeah. That is the stickers. Okay, yeah. Well, I will not forget the stickers. Where did I put them actually? No, they're right here. I will send those out. So, Type C, would hobos make an appearance next season? Probably. People still get offended when I use that word, and I'll use it in public. Or one day I was hanging out with Sabine, and she said something, and I go, "Oh, those bums," and she goes, oh. I go, "But what? What are they? What better word?" Listen, man, I was homeless. I've been homeless before. I lived in my car. It sucks. I totally understand it. But that guy, the guy's like convicted of a crime. That guy's actually like he's like technically legally a bum. You know that guy isn't someone who's like, well, I lost my job and my house. I'm gonna go live on the streets. No, he's a bum. He's a bum. But anyways, hobos and bums. Every so often, people like in real life and on comments have been like, I don't really think you should call them hobos. Hey man, maybe they're from Hoboken. Maybe, we don't know. I'm just going to assume they're all from Hoboken. Muhammad asks, will we ever see the alleged Sabine? If you come to a live show, right, me and Sabine go to Port Gamble and, Seaside. So, yeah, it does exist. She's not the Clickatat 8 cat. I go, oh, well, if you really believe in her, you'll see her. You'll see her. Yeah, HP 720cc can't get out there, but she's alive. She's alive and real. Well, so, yeah, and Carol Williamson showed up right when we're signing off. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. You guys have a great week. Thank you so much for 7 years. Really, really appreciate it. And I'll try to cut all these into one long video. But have a great one, guys. Love you, too. I'm going to go turn on all my air conditioners and maybe take a nap, right? Because I can tell this under my eyes. Nick, you have a great week. You and Helena. Have a great week as well. Everyone have a great week. Not just them. Everyone have a great week. I love all you guys. Maybe I'll see some of you guys tonight at the movie night. Signing out. Have a great one.